going to go and shift the header for the combine. Let's go, go, go. Combine is just shifted over there to the next field, to the last field. Coming past the sunflowers that are well past now. There's the odd late one which is still blooming. Before we get going, please subscribe if you haven't already. We're in a race to 10,000 against GM Farming. It's a grudge match, Scotland versus England. Come on, Scotland. So if you're not subscribed, go and click it. Anyway, into the video. Grain pusher. Predictions. Will we get that field wiped out before that rain hits us? I hope so. Last field. It's going to be raining for the next few days. Don't want to be sitting waiting for ages. Hey, Doug. There's the rain. Oh no. No, 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 no. Doug's going to go and try, but it's just getting heavier. We might be okay. We might. We might not though. A lot of people ask the dog is called Lulu. Lulu. I'm just about finished the end rig. The rain's come back on again. It went off there, but might just sneak this field. Fingers crossed. We've managed to get one load out of there so far. Probably only another 2 full loads out of there to do, so come on, rain, stay away. Kev's laying bales all out over there. Looks fractionally daft, but it's not. It's for the ammonia treated straw, so Wrapper's going to come in today, anytime soon, start wrapping all those bales, and then Harborough will come and inject ammonia into them, breaks it down. It's wheat straw, breaks it down a wee bit, and it's more digestible for the cattle. You can get more nutrition from it, and the cows specifically. Then we feed that to the cows through the winter, and then a month pre-calving we switch them over to silage because we've got a wee bit of silage. I always get a question about an ammonia straw, so if you search on YouTube CrawfordsFarm ammonia straw, there's a specific video where I explain more in depth why we do it. If I remember, I'll put a link below this video. That's us, harvest done. Happy days. Everything's wiped out. We missed the rain, thankfully. It's gonna rain soon. Happy days, another simple harvest for that combine. So we bought that combine last year, and last year was a really easy harvest. This year there's a wee blip in the middle, but we'd take that any year. It was a good harvest. Combine went like a champ. Yields were decent. That's that. Harvest 2022 done and dusted. Well, maybe we might try and get the sunflowers. That was a bit of a close one. The dryers just started emptying. Just tipping off the last of the oats here. Not too far away from landing on me. Go and pick up the header now, grab the land rower. That's just shifting wheat still. Got a few days of shifting wheat and drying wheat to do, and then oats. Get a combine, the header shifted along the road into a shed before it starts raining. Don't want to put the combine away wet. If you can get it in the shed when it's bone dry, that's the best thing for it. That's why we don't clean it now. Wait until harvest next year before harvest to clean it. Because you power wash it and it soaks up the water, and then the water sits in hollows and rusts. And this Defender's been mega handy for shifting the header. We're off. Couldn't have been better timing. That's the rain come on now. Dump it in the shed. The header normally sits next to the combine in that shed, but the sprayer's in the way right now. I'll be putting the sprayer on in the next few days, so I'm just going to dump the header in here for now. Okay, grain pusher. This is the old one. That looks a bit more substantial. So I need to chop the headstock off that end, put it onto this one. I need to put a blade on the end of this. I'm not going to make it massive for now. Definitely bigger than that though. This is just an art piece now. Sculpture, you'd call that. A modern artist would demand fortunes for something like that. One last bit to weld. Not weld, grind. That little bit there. And there's a tiny bit there. These are the trickiest bits to weld here, because there's, I'll show you here, because there's quite a gap between there. Because this is 3mm and this is 6mm, the thick piece of material will absorb a lot more heat than the 3mm piece, because this will then just blow a hole. What I do is I hold my weld up here on the thick piece of material, and then I bridge across quickly and back, and just boom, across, hold it up here, boom, across, and work my way down. And it's coming up quite well. Seems to be anyway. It's good enough for me. I've not filmed anything today, but we're almost done putting in braces and stuff. There's the old one, goosed. What's left to do? I need to weld a few more bits. There's so much more welding than you first think. Other than weld a few bits, I need to then big blade on it, and then that's it. The rain is now howling down, so I'm going to try and get some of it into the workshop anyway, so it's under cover. Will definitely be finished today. It has to be finished today. I've just overheated the welder, so it needs 15 minutes to cool down. I've been tempted for a while now to buy a beefier MIG welder, just quite expensive, so I've not done it. I've gone through it all, everything's been measured, bang on, all these angles have been correct, here and here, all the way along, and the final piece I put in, the final bit, this bit up to there, I cut the angle wrong. I cut the opposite of what I was meaning to do, so I've had to cut a wee notch. That'll go in there, fill that hole. Typical, the last piece. Anyway, I'll just have to weld that bit in. Better than leaving it like that for grain to fill up. And then that's the chassis done anyway. Still needs a bit of blade on it, which is going to be these 3 scaffold boards. Right, let's make a blade. Kind of seems like a bit of a monstrosity now that that blade's on the end of it. Seems very big right now. We'll just have to give her a whack. Give her a try. This is the final piece of the puzzle, and then the grain pusher's done. Well, it's ready for a test anyway. See if it falls apart. See how long it takes to buckle this one. This piece just in there. Job done. I've put it in, then welded that on. Now I need to manoeuvre this out the door. Anyway, we'll get there. But that's it. Done. Away to test it. I think we're probably just shy of like 900 kilo for the whole thing, the weight of it. If it's not fine, I've just wasted a load of time. Lulu's having a snooze in a forklift. See what happens now, first off. It's an absolute monstrosity, Jesus. So that's the new one, that's the old one. It's substantially more beefy. If I buckle this, then I quit, I give up. Surely, surely not. The first thing that'll go will be the headstock, I would imagine. Quite a lot of strain going on around there, and don't know if my welding's up to it. But let's go do some grain pushing. Look at that, that's a belter. I could maybe put another board on top, but I thought I better not be too over ambitious to start with. We'll just get all the wheat we're needing pushed up. Got good faith in it. Fingers crossed my welding holds up. Oh, and I want to make a few legs here for it, just so when you set it down, the bottom of the forklift, the headstock on the forklift doesn't hit the concrete. I'll go get the other forklift to do the pushing with. It's amazing how out in the rain, stuff rusts so quickly. I mean, I just welded that this morning, and it's already rusty. Really wet morning, thankfully. Dad managed to get all the wheat out of that bay, shifted yesterday into the shed, so none of it got rained on. Happy days. Dump this in here and grab the other forklift. I've hardly been in this shed in the last 2 days, but you can see there's just wheat everywhere at the moment. That's dry wheat. That's the rest of the wet wheat to dry. Now that I've got the pusher done, we can start shifting more dry wheat into the shed because we're running out of space to push it up. I don't know if we're going to get all this wheat in the shed. We'll try. Anyway, moment of truth, let's go pushing. If for some reason the grain pusher is a bit too kind of bulky and heavy, I can change the end plate on it. I've made it out of scaffold boards and a bit of steel in it. It is quite heavy. We'll call it 10 metres for the maths, but if I've got 80 kilo out there, which is 800 newtons at 10 metres, that's 8,000 newton meters bending moment on the forklift. Whereas you reduce that weight of 80 kilo down to 40 kilo, your 8,000 newton meters turns into 4,000 newton meters. So there's a big difference. You think taking a wee 40 kilo off doesn't make a difference, but it makes a massive difference. So that's us fully extended. We're not too bad, we're only 50% of the way up. It will bounce a wee bit if I flick it up and bounce it. See, it does flicker a wee bit, so we'll just have to give it a whack. Well, wish me luck. Still comes over the top, as to be expected. Well, this is awesome. You can get so much more done with this one than you can the other one. Just because the plate on the end of it is double the size now. I can make it bigger, I'll probably put it one board higher. I am chuffed to bits with that. I'm biased, obviously, I made it. But from the old one breaking maybe 2 days ago, or buckling 2 days ago, maybe £1,000 of materials and a bit of elbow grease, and we've got to that, and it works, and it's much better than the old one, much stronger, you can push a lot more with it. I'm going to make the board fractionally bigger. It's 3 scaffold boards tall right now. I'm going to make it 4, and it's double the width of the old one. I think it's awesome. If I had the patience and I didn't hate painting, I would paint it yellow. It would look so good. If anyone does portable painting, they come and paint stuff, send me a quote. I'll put my email down here. I'm getting a lift up the heap, and we'll get a wee video of it working in action. You can see what I mean by the grain here, sitting in the seams. Right, let's see her in action. Dad's going to give it a push. This is the first time Dad's used it, so he'll be a wee bit cautious to start. Yeah, it could do with another board on top of that. Oh yeah, we're in action now. Another board on top of that. A lot of them have a bit of an angled side. There you go. That's the business. Oh, I'm chuffed to bits with it. Taxi back down. There's a few things that probably would have been better, but I didn't do them. These braces would have been stronger if they were from that point there to that point there, rather than in the middle, but I would have had to do one each side, so double the amount of welding down the middle there, and double the amount of steel used, which adds weight, so I just did them down the middle. Not as good, but still better than not having them. I didn't put braces up here just because, well, the brunt of the force is down the base of the blade, and this is all spilling around the side, so I didn't really think it needed it. An extra weight at this end makes a big difference, so I left them off. It's not that much weight, I can add them after. That seam in there, I was kind of caught between, do I put this steel around the outside of the wood and frame it that way, or do I put it behind? But if you put it behind, it takes the force better, whereas around the outside then stops you having seams like this that catch all the grain, which is a bit annoying. I can deal with that somehow. I could just put some silicone up there. Don't have silicone. Does silicone stick to wood very well? Probably not. What else? Braces in that direction. Diagonally that way, whether to put a few of them into, just to take the lateral movement out of it. I'm not sure whether I should have done that or I've not done it, so I don't think it needs it. You just be careful with how you're pushing it and kind of push evenly. You can feel on the forklift where the force is on this, whether it's on one side, whether it's central, or whether it's on the other side. So you can kind of steer the forklift to adjust, just to make sure it's running right down the middle of the forces, where you don't really want it at an angle. That's where you get the chance of bending and breaking and things like that. So scaffold boards were just temporary till I get a steel one made up, but I quite like them when you drop it down, because I like to drop onto the concrete and push right from the base up the way. And when you drop it down, the scaffold boards, they're not going to damage the concrete at all, whereas steel, it could hit it and chip away at it. I didn't cap these because the grain can just go straight the way through and fall out. There's a lot of flat edges. A lot of them are made with round stock so the grain doesn't sit on them, but I'm just going to stick to square stuff. It's easier to weld. But other than that, that's it. The new grain pusher. Imagine that all in yellow. It would look amazing. Oh, I should do it. Really should. See when you've got a perfectly flat, nice floor. Oh, it just cleans it up. Spotless. Cheers for watching. If you've made it this far, click like, also subscribe. The lights that's currently illuminating me right now, new lights I put on the Defender, video coming soon. Do you want a sneak peek? How close can I get you? There you go. That's all you're saying. Oh,